This retreat is about enabling us to join those dots and think about meaning making and creativity and belonging and well-being by connecting nature and heritage in a really interesting way.
Plein air painting is just painting outside. You're in nature and you're trying to basically grab the colours that are in front of you and place them on the canvas, which is a joy.
Welcome to the Waterfall,
a video podcast and community in which we explore well-being, sustainability, the arts and technology, as well as sharing our experience of slow travel.
In this special episode, Rachael North, CEO of the Shakespeare Birthplace Trust, and artist Lizzie Bentley help us to explain the concept behind the As You Like It Creative Wellbeing Retreats, as well as talking about the inaugural retreat, a Plein Air Painting Weekend at Anne Hathaway Cottage in Stratford-upon-Avon.
The As You Like It Creative Wellbeing Retreats are the first of two retreat programs Kaberi and I proposed in a concept paper which was inspired by the rural reconstruction experiments of Rabindranath, Tagore and Leonard Elmhirst.
They first met in New York in 1920, where Leonard Elmhirst was studying agriculture at Cornell University. Rabindranath invited Leonard Elmhirst to come to India to help him revive the villages around the school he had founded in Sriniketan.
Rabindranath wanted Leonard Elmhirst to live on a farm nearby, in Sriniketan, find out what the problem was, and see what could be done to help the villagers to help themselves. With finance from American heiress Dorothy Strait, they combined Leonard Elmhirst's pragmatic insistence on increased crop production and Rabindranath's insistence that each village had to be studied and treated as a whole to achieve long-lasting results.
Rabindranath urged the Sriniketan team to draw on all the resources at Sriniketan to inspire them: music, song, drama, dance, drawing and design.
The Sriniketan program aimed to revive cottage industries and crafts. It sought to initiate new artistic designs and train apprentices. Craft training centres were set up to restore local industries and crafts such as leatherwork, tailoring, carpentry, lacquer work, raw silk production, pottery, towel making, cane work, embroidery and bookbinding.
By 1924, Dorothy and Leonard wanted to adapt Sriniketan's holistic approach to the rural challenges of post-war Britain. They married in April 1925 and bought a suitable estate in Dartington, Devon in September that year.
They started an extensive restoration program and opened the Dartington Arts School in September 1926, a century ago. Their experiments at Sriniketan and Dartington were designed as blueprints for rural communities in India and in the West. Inspired by this, Kaberi and I prepared a concept paper adapting the approach of Rabindranath and the Elmhirsts to two needs of modern times: creative well-being retreats to help people to thrive even when life becomes stressful, and crisis leadership retreats to help organisations to thrive in the current volatile, uncertain and complex times.
Rachael North, the CEO of the Shakespeare Birthplace Trust, was one of the first to see the potential that has led to the launch of the As You Like It Creative Wellbeing Retreat program, as well as the perspective of the Tempest Crisis Leadership Retreats.
It came out of conversations that we've been having about how we can use these remarkable buildings, one of which you can see behind us, more creatively. And creativity is such a wonderful concept when we think about Shakespeare and the unrivaled inspiration that we can take from his plays, from his sonnets, from his works and from his life as a springboard for our own imagination, and whether that's through painting, writing, thought, just having a great day. There are ways in which we as an organisation want to really think about how we can become a space for people to create for themselves. And so when we started talking about the concept of a retreat and what they meant, it was within that spirit, wasn't it, of around Shakespeare as an inspiration and our spaces as an inspiration, but also how we could open them up and think about them differently. So not always solely as a visitor experience or as a museum experience, but as something that's perhaps more immersive.
We're in the rural countryside here, so that's also something many people are missing out on, and perhaps also bringing people back into contact with nature.
I agree, and I think the sense of the intersection between nature and heritage and well-being is something that we all feel. We know it makes us feel better to be in nature, to be amongst amazing heritage, but perhaps we haven't joined as a profession. As people that care for these spaces, we haven't maybe joined those dots in that way. So this retreat is about enabling us to join those dots and think about meaning making and creativity and belonging and well-being by connecting nature and heritage in a really interesting way.
And also it reminds people of their roots, I think cultural roots.
I think, and that sense of heritage and nature doing that, enabling us to think about our own roots, our own sense of belonging, and whether that's because you were born in this country or whether that's because you're visiting, it's still a provocation and an interest, and nature and heritage enable us to reach deep into those thought processes.
It's also about Shakespeare's relevance to modern times. We've seen recently the viral clip from Ian McKellen.
Yes.
Reciting the words of Sir Thomas More by Shakespeare, but there are many others.
It's unending, isn't there? There's everything, every human emotion, every condition, everything that we face in the world today. Shakespeare's works give us a way to think through that. They're not the answers. They're a way to think. They're a way to imagine through empathy how we might respond, how we might challenge ourselves, how we might think differently. Because there is nothing new under the sun. And so these, whether it's war, whether it's love, grief, power, there is so much still within Shakespeare for us to mine as we think about our contemporary world and how it's changing hourly around us.
Both Tagore and Shakespeare have this common human spirit running through all of their works. So it's also probably useful to be reminded of that, especially at times like these.
Great poetry and great art is sort of endlessly connective. And when I think about what that means, it means you and I having a conversation about poetry. It means sometimes when we celebrate Tagore, there are people who walk past Henley Street and who join that celebration each year who would not necessarily imagine that they would visit Shakespeare's birthplace, but they find something that is relevant to them. Great art connects rather than divides, and that sense of connection is hugely important.
The inaugural As You Like It Creative Wellbeing Retreat is a Plein Air Painting Weekend led by local artist Lizzie Bentley at Anne Hathaway's Cottage in Stratford-upon-Avon at the beginning of May 2026.
We love being outside. We love the colours, the freshness, the clouds, the sky, and to be able to do a plein air painting and grasp that onto the canvas, and then you bring it inside and you have that in your own home, which can be joyous and the colours can be fresh. So yeah, for me that's what attracts me about plein air painting. We're just so lucky here. Everywhere you look is beautiful. There's beautiful cottage structures with lovely thatched roofs. There's going to be cottage gardens. I'm wondering whether the many orchards here will be, maybe we might catch some of the end of the blossom for the apple blossom, which is a bit later.
So we've come to another part of the garden of Anne Hathaway's Cottage. We have here a kind of circle, which, as you said, it seems like an ideal place to stage a play.
Yeah, I mean the amount of really huge established trees. I love painting trees, and they presumably in May they will have the leaves will just start, so you'll be able to still see the lovely branches. But there's so much to paint here. It's really exciting, and right in the centre of Stratford.
So it's 2 days of retreat, but have in mind. So what can people expect?
So it's quite a long day. So it's going to be there's going to be time for everybody to not rush. We're going to start with a meet and greet, and then come and we'll have a coffee, and then we're going to come to Anne Hathaway's and walk around. And what I always say to students is, don't start painting until you've found something that you love. So you find a view or a vista or a lovely cottage. I mean, we've got a beautiful cottage garden that will be here, that will come up in a couple of months, with some lovely flowers. And so it's to find a view that you really want to paint. So it's about taking your time, finding that view, and then setting up and trying to capture what attracted you to that view in the first place. I will be doing a demo where people are very welcome. I'll be doing a demo in oil paints. People are very welcome to come and look at that. They don't have to, but it can be quite useful. It's a good opportunity for people who are watercolour artists or acrylic artists who want to learn to paint in oils, or to see how it's done. And and then we're going to be outside painting, and I will be coming around and giving bits of tailored advice to people. And we'll stop for lunch, have a nice lunch, which is in a little cafe just across the road, which is lovely. We'll be painting. It should be just great.
Our thanks to Rachael North and Lizzie Bentley, as well as to Sophie Clausen from Brook Arts Hub, which is organising the inaugural As You Like It Creative Wellbeing Retreat.
If you are looking for an opportunity to reconnect with your creativity, to be in nature and to explore historic places, you will find the link to register for the Plein Air Painting Weekend at Anne Hathaway Cottage with Lizzie Bentley in the description of this episode.
Kaberi and I will be there to welcome participants on the first day of the retreat. So we look forward to meeting those of you who are there.
In any case, Obhi and I look forward to reading your reflections about this episode and creative well-being retreats in the Waterfall community.